everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Patti, and on Mondays I make gnomes and animals, and today I am going to share with you this super cute little aviator dude. He's only 4 inches tall. The pattern's in the description below. If you want to know how to make this little guy, stick around. I'll show you how. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Okay, go ahead and cut your pattern pieces out, and we're going to put them together. So you're going to fold the center piece together, and then you're going to fold your hat together, and you're going to match up those two center pieces and glue it down. Now we're just going to curve right around this middle piece all the way down to the front part of our hat on both sides. And I've given you this in the SVG if you want to cut it out on a Cricut, and I've given it to you in a PDF if you want to cut it out by hand. And those are in the description below. And if you don't see them in the description below, you can always see them on my website at www.pattijgood.com. But just keep going around the curvature of that until you have it completely glued in. And then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut little bitty slits. Now, real little ones, because you don't want to cut through your glue area. And then just go ahead and pull that back. And that's going to be one side of the hat. And then we're going to take our other one, and you want to make sure that you're matching up the same ones. And then you're going to glue, fold it in half, find your center point on the opposite side, and go ahead and glue it in. And then we're just going to start gluing that one around as well, just to get the shape of the hat. And then just like the other side, we're going to cut little slits in it, maybe about 1/8 inch slits, so that we can fold it over. And that'll make it lay nicely. And I'm just using a brown, heather brown felt. And you can get that at Joanns, or you can get it on Etsy. It's just a little bit thicker felt than just regular felt that you get at Hobby Lobby. And just kind of smooth it out, and then we're going to go ahead and put it on this little ball. Now this is a half ornament, 70 millimeter, and we're just cutting the tab off the side of it. Okay, go ahead and even out the front part by cutting that part off. Now your little flaps are going to go forward. They're going to flow forward. So the front is the one where they're actually like pointed a little bit forward. And we're just going to stick an ornament right inside of this, and we're going to start gluing it down. So start in the front, put some glue there, pull it on down in the back. You can leave that little tab on the back to help you kind of pull it down. But just go ahead and keep gluing until you have it completely covering that ornament and you don't see any of the ornament. This will make it have a nice it'll be a nice fit on this hat. It just makes it so much nicer just to put this little ornament inside of it. And then we're going to cover up the two seamed sides, so don't worry so much if you got any glue on the outside of your hat when you glued your hat together, because we are going to come back in with those little strips and put those in. So you're going to start at the back and start gluing those in. And don't use so much glue, just put a little bit of glue on and kind of stretch it along as you go. And then any that's hanging over the edge, go ahead and trim that off and do exactly the same thing to the opposite side. Just kind of pull it and stretch it as you're going. Okay, next we're going to take a piece of Sherpa that measures 2 inches by 1.5 inches, and we're going to fold it over on the long side. And just kind of pull all your little Sherpa inside of it a little bit, and then we're going to glue down two sides, both sides. And then we're just going to fold that one over, and we're going to fold the other one over. And then any excess Sherpa that's loose, just go ahead and pull it off. And then turn it right side out. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and glue that shut. Okay, next we're going to attach it to our hat with the side that we just glued. That's going to be facing downward. And we're just going to glue it right up to the top of that hat. Just right up to that edge. Okay, next we're just going to attach the little bill to it. Just take it and glue it right to the edge of that ornament in the same shape as the ornament. So just kind of glue it right around that edge. kind of pull it forward a little bit just so you make sure you do see it through the Sherpa. Okay, next just take the tab end of the pattern and cut it out, and you can do it for both sides because you want to make sure that you have opposites, and you're just going to cut this out of the back of some Sherpa. And try to cut through the back of the Sherpa, not through the Sherpa, kind of like we do on our beards, just kind of in the backing only so that you still have the nice Sherpa hanging over the edges. And then we're just going to go ahead and glue this right onto each one of the flaps. So make sure that you are putting it on the correct flap because you are going to have opposites on these little flaps. And you can do the same thing for both sides. Okay, now we're going to build the goggles, and I've given you the pattern for this as well. Just overlap those enough so that when you put the little circle on top of it, that it does fit it. So you might just kind of fold it in half, kind of see exactly where you want to put it. Make sure that circle covers the top edge. And then do the same thing with the opposite side. You're probably bending them over about a ½ inch. After those dry, we're going to go ahead and add our circle to the top. Now you want to make sure that you're adding it to the flush end that is rounded on the top, because we are going to have one side that's going to go down longer on one side. So you want to make sure that you go at the top, not at the side that had the angle. And those little angled areas are going to go onto the outside of his goggles. And don't worry so much if you get a little bit of glue on these, because we are going to come back in and paint these. And then that's going to be how it sets on his hat. So figure out exactly how far apart yours are. And then we're going to go ahead and put our inside part, the nose area, on. And we're just going to come up over the top edge, curve it up, and over the top edge of the other one. And then we're going to come back in with another piece and do the same thing on the bottom edge. Just kind of play with it a little bit till you get exactly like you want it. And I did trim mine off just a little bit because it didn't match the other side completely. Just make sure your long edge is on the outside edge. And then we'll come back in with another piece, and we're going to fold it in half, glue it to the top part, the center of the other part, the center of the other nose area, and then you'll fold it around to the bottom of those two areas too. Just hold it in your fingers like that. It makes it a little bit easier. And then just glue those on around to the bottom part of the goggle and push them up there so that they do meet in the center. Just kind of squeeze them up there. And you'll have a little bit of overhang. If you don't want it, you can just cut it off of there. I am shortening mine just about 1/4 inch on both sides. Okay, then we're just going to add the little straps to both sides. And do the same thing with the other one. Next, I'm going to paint the entire goggle with a brown paint. And I'm just using a brown acrylic paint. And that paint will soak in real well. Then I'm coming back with some gold metallic, and I'm just going to kind of rub it randomly onto it. Just to kind of make them look like a little bit of metal, a little bit of leather. So I just cut 2 little circles out of some acrylic, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint it black. Now, you don't have to use acrylic. You could actually just cut a black circle from craft foam if you want to. And it took about 4 coats to get these completely painted. Next, I'm just going to take my scissors. I'm just going to trim them out because they were a little bit too big for the goggles. And you don't really have to glue them in. I'm not going to glue mine in. I'm just going to kind of push them in there all the way to the end. As rough as they were on the edges after I finished cutting them out, they stayed in just fine. Okay, for the body, I'm going to take a 7" by 5" piece of felt, and I'm just going to glue along the 5" side, and I'm just going to fold this over and let that dry. Okay, next I cut out a 2 1/4 inch circle, and I'm just going to go ahead and pin this along the bottom all the way around, and then we're going to start gluing it in. Now don't worry so much about it if you don't get it perfect. We're not going to put weighted beads in here, so just kind of make sure that you do get it glued in. And then I'm going to glue this in sections. I'm just going to remove my pin and glue it in, and I'm just going to go all the way around doing the same thing. Just remove your pin as you're going along. Okay, next I cut out 5 2-inch circles at a chipboard, and I'm just going to glue them together to kind of build it up to make it thicker. Now, if you have a piece of cardboard that's real thick, just cut that one out and use it instead. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my body right side out. And just go ahead and flatten the bottom until it's completely flat, because we are going to put that chipboard down in there. Then I'm going to add 3 little 5/16 inch weights to this. These are just little nuts. You can get them at any hardware store, and they don't have to be that size. Anything that you have that's weighted to put that down in there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and push that all the way down to the bottom and make sure that it is flat and that my little guy stands up. And then I'm just going to fill the rest of it up with some polyfill, and I'm going to go all the way up till about 1/2 inch from the top. Just make sure you get him pretty firm. Next, I'm going to take 6 of those same 2-inch circles, and I'm going to glue these together. And again, if you have thick cardboard, just use it. Okay, next I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut little 1/2 inch slits all the way around and about 1/2 inch space between them. And then I'm just going to push my chipboard down on top of there, and I'm going to start gluing those tabs down over the top of the chipboard just to kind of seal this completely in. And then I'm going to take another 2-inch circle out of the same fabric and just glue it right over to the top of it. This will just make it completely stay together. Next, I'm going to do my beard. I'm going to cut it at 2 inches by 2 inches. Now, that's not what I just did there, but I changed it later. So do 2 inches by 2 inches. Make a U around there, cut behind the faux fur, all the way around until you get your beard completely cut out. And then go ahead and clean the excess off. Okay, next I'm going to cut a piece of 7-inch by 1-inch Sherpa, and we're going to make this around to the bottom of his jacket as trim. So just go ahead and glue it right down the center of it, and then you're just going to squeeze it right down the middle. And then we're just going to start in the back and start gluing it in. You're going to glue the part in that has the seam facing the body. And if you have to stretch it a little bit, that does stretch. Okay, next we're just going to go ahead and glue our beard on, and we're going to go right up to the top of the opposite side of the seam in the back. You just glue that in. Next, we're going to go ahead and attach the hat. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue into the back and the top part of the hat, and I'm just going to put it on his head. Now, you want to make sure that your little flaps are facing forward and they're going forward. Okay, next I'm just taking a 15mm half wooden bead, and I'm just going to glue his nose in. Just kind of lift up his little flap right there, put it underneath there, and then just put a little bit of glue on his little bill right there and attach it to his nose. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add the goggles. Go ahead and figure exactly where you want them. And then I'm just going to glue down, I'm going to spot glue them down on the side. I'm going to put one piece up there by the flap on both sides, and then I'm going to go around to the back, and I'm going to just glue them into the back. You don't have to put a lot of glue on these. Craft foam stays glued real well. And then just glue it into the back, and then overlap the other one over the top of that one and glue it in. Next, I'm just going to add a little strap to the side of his little flap. I'm just going to curve around the end of it and then punch a couple of holes in it. And then I'm going to attach a buckle to the opposite side. Now, I don't remember where I got my little buckle, but I'm pretty sure it came from Hobby Lobby. You can just look for them. They have them at Hobby Lobby or even on Amazon. And then I'm going to add, I got a few little steampunk gears down there, and I'm going to put a couple of those on his hat as well. You can decorate his hat up however you want. But on this one, I had this little buckle, and then I'm going to take a little brad to go through it to run it through the opposite side. I'm just going to punch a hole with my hole punch and then stick that through and then open up those brads. These are just some things that I already had in my craft collection. And then I'm just going to add a couple little gears. And you can really deck him out as much as you want to. I just put 2 little gears on him. Okay, next I'm making some little shoes. I'm just rolling up like a 3/4 inch little ball of oven baked clay. I just flatten it out. I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to curve it around my little stick so it curves around his body. And then bake those at 275 degrees for 25 minutes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue them on with a little E6000 glue and a little hot glue. And I'm just going to glue them right to the front. Just kind of space them out a little bit. Okay, this little guy was pretty easy. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see future videos, be sure and like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have another video upload. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.